welcome back. Thanks for tuning in again. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like and subscribe. If you're not, you do know we had a couple issues with the car. First one being the throttle body. The car is booked in for next Thursday. We're currently sitting in Saturday, so got a little bit of a wait, but I'll keep you up to date with that. Other issue was the coolant. Our coolant was low and no signs of any leaks or anything, so a few people were wondering if it went into the oil, so that's what I'm going to be going over on this video. Ready to do an oil change, so we'll drain it, see if it looks like there's anything maybe mixed in there, because obviously that's not a very good sign. And if not, we will continue with the hunt and see where everything happens to be going. So before we get started, like I said, the coolant was leaking. This is all back to stock just because of the ticking issue or the popping issue we had before. You can go back and check out that video. But I did end up filling this back up to the max line. And now if you look, it might be kind of hard to see with the GoPro, but it is down already again, just to the lip here. And I did have it up to the max line. That was my kind of guide off of it to see how much he's losing. Car is cold right now. Didn't run it all today or anything, so I will keep an eye on it again, and I'll always check it while the car is sitting here as is and see where she ends up. But by the looks of it, she may still be losing it somewhere. So first off, we'll start with the oil, obviously. Alright, so she's draining. I usually let her sit here, drip for 15 minutes or so. Gets most of it out, should be good to go. If you take a look at our little plug, we do have the UPR plug in there. You can see the magnet, if it'll focus, does still pick up a little bit of stuff in there. Nothing too hectic. It seems to be the same. I think this is maybe the 4th or 5th oil change I've done since I've installed this thing. And it picks up roughly the same amount every time, so definitely worth it. These things are not expensive at all. Pick one up, put it in your car, and you will definitely not regret it. And if you're wondering what oil I ended up using, I always go with the Pennzoil Ultra Platinum. I use 5W30. The car calls for 520. I put 530 in. Everybody that I've seen on YouTube, including people not on YouTube, say that if you add 30 over the 20, it helps with the engine tick that a lot of these cars had issues with. And of course, with the S550, it takes the whole 10 quarts. And I find with my car anyways, I've got it jacked up, not high, but enough for me to fit under there. If I let it drain completely, take the filter off, because you do have a little bit in the filter as well, of course. Let it drain. It will take the entire 2 bottles. I put them all in, and it will end up just under the maximum oil mark on your dipstick when you're done. So that works out good. You don't have a little bit left over at the end. And for your filter, I go get this from Ford. It's only like 12 bucks. And you're looking for the FL500S. That is what we take in the S550s. So, of course, we'll fill her up a little bit. Get a little bit around the rubber gasket there before we screw the new one on. But that is all I use. And if you're wondering how magnetic this UPR plug is, onto my freezer here. She sticks. It'll even hold itself up. So definitely worth the purchase, like I said. Alright, so here we go, guys. Got the filter off. She's all drained out. And it looks as black as can be. You can see when you got the white on there, it's more brown than black. But if you have coolant in here, or a lot of it anyways, it'll look like a melted chocolate milkshake. It'll be all creamy and gross looking, where this is still looking like oil. Doesn't look like there's any sort of water or coolant or anything in there. So that's a good sign, but it is obviously going somewhere. And another note that I didn't mention in the other videos is when I start up the car, it doesn't ever blow out like white smoke out of the tailpipes. It does once in a while, like if it's really cold, just every car will do that. You get the little bit of white smoke out the tailpipes, but if you're leaking a lot of coolant, it'll do it all the time or really bad, where mine does it for the first few minutes till it's warmed up and then seems to disappear. So I am not really knowing what's going on with the coolant. Like I said, I'll keep an eye on it and see what happens, but for now, I'm gonna say oil is looking good. New filter's back on, so all we gotta do now is drop her back down, fill her up, and we're good to go. All right, so what I do, I'll put in one whole bottle and all about a quart, maybe a quart and a half out of the second one. Fire it up, let it run for maybe 10-15 seconds just to get everything in there where it's got to go. Shut it off, open up the cap again, pour the last bit in, and be done with it. All right, and that's her, guys. Just make sure you put the cap back on, double check your dipstick, make sure it's all good. Check underneath, make sure you got no drips or leaks. You never know, something might have went wrong. You don't want to take the car out, drive around with oil spilling out everywhere. And then back her out, take her for a drive, make sure pressure's all good, and you should be set. What I do with the old oil is I put it into the jugs where the new oil came in. Reason I do this, not only is it easy, you can store it. I usually do 2 or 3 oil changes, pick them up, bring them all to the oil recycling place all at once. But the other reason is most oil will have your little sight glass, or just a clear plastic, it's not glass, but you can see where your oil is at. So you can see this one I filled up way up here. It's a little bit higher, but this one you can see is down. This says 4.5 quarts here, 4.5. So this will show you exactly how much oil your car is consuming or burning off between oil changes. So obviously, if you fill one up right to the rim, the other one's halfway down, you got a problem. Shouldn't be using up that much oil. But it just shows you roughly where you're at with that. And just like I said, a nice, easy, clean way to store it until you're ready to get rid of it. And that's it. You should be good to go. So thanks for watching the video, you guys. I know there's a few other things I want to do with the car because, as you've seen in this one, the oil isn't having any kind of contaminant in it. Not that it looks like anyway, there could be a bit in there, but most of the time, like I said, melted milkshake look to it. This stuff, as you could see, was pretty black. So she was definitely ready for an oil change, but it looks like it is just oil, luckily. So I'll keep an eye on the coolant. I'll keep you guys up to date with anything that I find. If it starts to drain down, obviously I'll look into it further. But for now, we'll run her as is. A couple more days, she should be getting fixed up. And we'll have her back up and running in no time. So thanks for watching, everybody. Thumbs up and subscribe. Make sure you stay tuned for the next videos. And I hope to see you guys in the future.